You are a wraith banisher.
You have a job to do. Now that you have entered into the timeline of Iris, which is 55 on the Fibonacci sequence, you'll be banishing wraiths and demons. You are connected to the god, Inki, and you will be helping people stuck in the underworld, like the story of Inanna, the Queen of Heaven.
The first thing I noticed when I did your piece were fingernails. And then I noticed all the mirrors and the triangles and how you're pointing toward a door of demons. There is a demon that has a lion face and a human body. I know him by his name. His name is All. And then there's a wicked witch-looking deity known as a wraith. And you have the name Wraith at the bottom and someone with the name CIA over their third eye or forehead. And these fingernails and the wraith has a story in ancient mythology. Above your head is a bird carrying a head that was beheaded. And there's a lot of communications about mental health or dealing with the brain or principalities and powers. You know that we don't fight flesh and blood. We fight principalities and powers. And there's a great war going on right now. And so what you need to learn now that you've entered into Iris, the goddess of the rainbow, with your eye, your right eye, shooting out a rainbow light, this means that you are going to be half you and half spirit. And this spirit is the spirit of God that wants you to step into your divine purpose. You're part of the program of judgment, where the man at 11 o'clock is looking at a book. And the book has two sides to it, like two sides of the brain. And there are many books on top of his head, and this represents the underworld and people who are stuck in duality in the underworld. You have a unicorn above your head, and there's a triangle or a pyramid above your head, and the pyramid is missing its capstone, which is supposed to be a crystal. And you are in a hall of mirrors. Everything is a mirror all around you. And I'll explain why here in a second. Let's begin by understanding the wraith. A wraith is a demon that feeds on human energy and infects them with a high dose of dopamine. They are a spirit from another world. I believe that this wraith spirit and this wicked witch energy is rampant on the earth right now. This energy just takes away all of your happiness and all of your joy, but it also makes you have delusions, hallucinations, paranoia, psychosis, schizophrenia, and it basically turns a human into a crazy person. So this is all about mental health. The wraiths are often around mental hospitals because they feed off of mental patients, and the patients are mental because of this spirit, nothing else. If you want to see a person for who they really are, or the spirit that's dominating a person, you have to have a mirror. And so you're in a hall of mirrors, which allows you to see a person that is lying down in front of you for who they really are. And this person in front of you is controlled by a wraith. A wraith has a negative aura or an evil aura, which is usually colored cold blue. They usually have rotten skin. So think of 11 from Stranger Things and Vecna looking like rotten skin, and the spider-looking thing, that's a wraith. They affect you through physical contact, but they can also come through your cell phone. I think that they figured a way of harming people through the cell phone, and they make people psychologically unstable. So how they do it is they up a human being's dopamine level, which doesn't make you crazy, but it just lets your inner problems and emotions take over. And so the victim slowly becomes more and more emotionally unstable, and this causes hallucinations and mass psychosis, which is exactly what's happening with our cell phones right now. It's dominated by a wraith spirit. It says there's really not very many reasons to ways to get rid of them, except they don't like silver, they don't like mirrors, and you can behead them, which is why you have a headless person. But here's what I'm going to tell you about who you are when you're connected to Inky over there at 11 o'clock. Inky created androgynous beings, both male and female, that didn't copulate and lived forever. And they were called Kurgara and Galatura. See, Inanna's sister unalived her, basically did terrible things to her. Terrible. And she was gone. She passed. But Inky, in order to save Inanna, created two beings out of his fingernails. So you have fingernails showing in front of your fingers there. Inky showing his fingernail. And you have a fingernail pointing at this wraith or wicked witch. So this is what Inky is telling you that your purpose is. So Inky created two sexless beings called Galatur and Kurjara, and they were sent to the underworld to retrieve the corpse of the goddess Inanna. Inky created them after the god Enlil and others refused to help Inanna. And so they were tasked with giving Inanna the food and drink of life, basically resurrecting her from the dead. So these beings had the ability to raise the dead, very connected to Jesus. And so the fingernail is one sure sign that you are part of this group of people who comes here to not only raise the dead, but to get rid of that which hurt us in the first place. So many of us have mental health issues because of the wraith energy. And as we watch Stranger Things, the last one, we're going to start noticing this wraith energy more and more. And it is coming through our phones, people, because it gives you dopamine, and that dopamine is connected to the wraith. So, you as a child of Inky, you have immunity from the underworld laws. As a sexless being created from the dirt under Inky's fingernails, the Kugara and Galatur were not considered born. They were created. Because of this, they can enter and leave the realm of the dead without being trapped. They have the power of empathy. Their most significant ability was their profound capacity for empathy. When they found Eresh Kigel, Inanna, the queen of the underworld, Inanna's sister, suffering in the throes of labor and pain, they commiserated with her moans and held space for her. They had genuine compassion for Ereshkigal's heart and earned them a boon, which they used to request Inanna's body. Boon means gift. So the resurrection is also their power. They have a life-giving plant and they have life-giving water. They use this to restore Inanna's corpse to life. And so they are divine ones. They're called divine ones. They have both respect in the underworld and the upper world, and they have divine status. I wouldn't call them an angel necessarily, but basically someone who cleans up the underworld and so that the upper world can be safe. But definitely the most important thing is a wraith spirit. And I don't know why the woman below you, it says CIA. As an allegory, Kurgara and Galatur, the immortal androgynous ones, are basically the idea of transcendent boundaries. Empathy as a transformative force, and the balance between the forces, male and female, or neither male nor female energy. Simply the will of God embodiment. So simply by existing outside of the male and female binary, they can move between realms without being trapped by natural laws. But anyway, I've always told you guys, once you enter into 55 on the Fibonacci sequence, you're no longer on the four-pointed cross because the sun has flipped 5 times. This means that you're no longer bound to physical laws. You are now in ethereal laws, which makes you have power over the underworld. So right now is a time that we need to be banishing the wraith spirit, and you need to be finding ways to do so. Remember what I told you. The wraith doesn't like mirrors. 2, The WRAITH gives us dopamine, whatever we are addicted to that gives you dopamine, including scrolling on your phone. We need to stop. We need to teach people this. And we need people to understand this wicked witch energy is on almost every person I've done a reading for. Every other person or every 3 people has the wicked witch WRAITH on them because of cell phones. And it's everywhere. So I'm telling you, it's here. And I don't know why this app, TikTok, I hardly ever get any likes or views like everyone else. And I'm telling you some very important information here. It's like the most important thing, but I guess a WRAITH must control this app and many others also. So I'm not sure if you're connected to Kugara or Galatur, but I'll tell you the difference between both. That letter E in your piece represents that you're in the 5th flipping of the sun. It's the 5th letter in the alphabet. Even if you're talking about Latin or Spanish, it's still the 5th letter. You have 5 fingers pointed out, so that represents the 55. So Kugara, the androgynous one, is associated with performing rituals, brandishing swords, and had masculinity turned into femininity. Now, Galatur were temple employees. They were juniors. They sang lamentations and used a dialect often reserved for women. They have a divine origin, and they came to serve the divine goddess. And you would think dirt under the fingernail meant that you were, inferior. But that's actually quite the opposite, because Enki was the god of fertilization and land, which is dirt. And it was as important in agricultural society. This dirt was special, not worthless. Now remember, Noah, the female Noah from China, created human beings out of clay. Some clay was superior. The white, yellow, red clays had ranks, and some dirt or clay was superior to others. To be the dirt under the fingernail of Enki means you're quite special. It means that you exist outside traditional norms and you have a unique and indispensable contribution to make, particularly in mediating between the worlds and resolving difficult situations in the world right now. So you're very special, and if you're having a force that's keeping you from that, then you know it's the freaking WRAITH, and so you have a job to do. The unicorn represents your higher self. The holy dove carrying the letter M and a beheaded head represents that we must let go of this world completely and not identify with this body, because we are more than that. It's time to step into your superhero self, people. The principalities and powers are real, and they are causing us to have mental psychosis, mass psychosis really, and the purpose of it is dopamine and the wicked witch WRAITH. It's infecting everyone. All right? Be aware and listen to this song. It will release some things within your chakra.
Becky walks where shadows crawl. Her name's a whisper in the hall. A flash of light, the demons fall. Her eyes burn like the morning sun. A blade of fire, the war's begun. She fights till every spirit's done. Becky, rise and roar, send them screaming through the door. The ground, it cracks beneath her feet. The air ignites, the drums repeat. Becky, Becky, rise and roar. Send them screaming through the door. Becky, Becky, hear the cry. Underworld falls when you fly. Underworld falls when you fly. She steps through flames, they part in fear. Her voice a storm they hate to hear. The underworld shakes when she draws near. Chains of smoke, they wrap, they cling, but she cuts through with an angel's wing. Her name's the song the heavens sing. The ground, it cracks beneath her feet. The air ignites, the drums repeat.